Hello everybody, my name is Jagdish. In today's session we will discuss about the X-ray diffraction and Bragg's law. So first we have to know about what is crystal diffraction. Here we know that all the materials are made up of crystals, and each crystal is composed of a regular arrangement of the atoms, and each atom is composed of a nucleus, which is surrounded by the electrons. The electrons are revolving around the nucleus in circular orbit or in elliptical orbit. In crystal, everything moves like a waves, and it exchanges energy and momentum like a particle. When in the crystal structure, if X-rays, light or sound waves or any electrons, if irradiated with these particles, then the crystal diffracts. How these rays diffracted from the crystals, we need to study in this session. Before that, we are explaining about the Bragg's law. First we have to know about the X-rays properties. Here we know that the X-rays are the electromagnetic radiation. It has less wavelength and more frequency and high energetic particles. The X-rays can undergo the interference and diffraction because it moves like a wave. That's why it should satisfy the wave condition. Then it undergoes the interference and diffraction, which is required for this session. We are using X-rays to study the properties of the crystals. Mainly we are using the three methods, that is Leo method, rotating crystal method and powder crystal method. From these three methods, we can study the crystal structure, but we are not going to discuss in this session about this Leo method or rotating crystal method or the powder crystal method. In next session, we would discuss about the powder crystal method, but in this session, we are not going to touch upon that. The condition for diffraction. We know that when an electromagnetic radiation like X-rays can be diffracted by the atomic planes only when the half of its wavelength is less than the interatomic distance. Then only the radiation diffracts. Why we have chosen only the X-rays for the diffraction? Why not gamma rays? Why not infrared rays? Because and also visible light. The visible light is also not used for the crystal diffraction because of its shorter wavelength. Here we know the crystal structure. In the crystal we have three-dimensional arrangement of the atoms in a crystal lattice. The distance between the two planes, or we can draw the first layer plane, second layer plane, third layer plane, like that. The distance between any two lattice planes is taken as the interplanar spacing. The distance between the two consecutive lattice planes is called interplanar spacing, that is D. That distance interplanar spacing in a crystal, it is of the order of 1 angstrom, its approximate value, and the X-rays wavelength is also of the same wavelength. Here the interplanar distance and the wavelength of the X-rays both are nearly equal, that's why we are using the X-rays for diffraction purpose. The X-rays can be diffracted by the crystals. In X-ray diffraction, it is a simple technique So X-ray beam X-ray diffraction. In this experiment, the X-ray can be produced by the X-ray tube, and the beam of X-rays which falls on the crystal after it gets diffracted, and we get the diffraction pattern on the photographic plate. This is the simple process. Here the crystallized molecule. So what we are observing here, the crystal contains the several layers, that is called as a lattice planes. There is an interplanar distance. When the X-rays falls on the crystal, its energy is absorbed by the electrons. We know that it falls on the atom, but the atom as a whole will not absorb. The outermost orbit is surrounded by the electrons. Those electrons absorbs the X-rays and it starts vibrating with a frequency. And this frequency will be equal to that incident X-rays which are coming towards the surface. So then the electron gets accelerated, and these electrons re-emit the radiation with frequency and the energy which are same as the incident X-rays. This emitted radiation, it interferes constructively and destructively, and then it forms a diffraction pattern on the screen. Here what we are observing is, so we got a photographic film, that is the diffraction pattern we are observing here. So this can be analyzed to know the structure of the crystal, or so we will get a peaks, or we will get a graph also. In the photographic film, the X-ray diffraction spectrum we will get. This peak represents the interplanar spacing is more and diffracted more. The Bragg's law. The Bragg's means the WH Bragg and WL Bragg. They studied the crystal structure and the X-ray diffraction, and they given the condition for the diffraction of X-rays, that is 2d sin theta is equal to n lambda. Whenever the X-rays satisfies this condition, so then only the diffraction occurs. So what is d here? The d is a spacing of planes of the atom, or interplanar spacing. Theta is a diffraction angle or a glancing angle. Lambda is wavelength of X-rays. N is order of diffraction. We have to derive the Bragg's equation. For that, so what we are observing in the diagram, so there are number of parallel crystal planes arranged in a regular interval like this. So what we are observing in the diagram, so consider a series of parallel crystal planes which are arranged in a regular interval, and the distance between all the crystal planes are same. So we have taken this as d, small d, so which represents the interplanar spacing. Whenever a parallel beam of X-ray is incident on the surface of the crystal plane, it makes an angle theta. So what we are observing in the diagram, there is a glancing angle theta, or sometimes it is called as an angle of incidence also. Here the X-rays are high energy particles or high penetrating radiations. It not only falls on the surface, also it penetrates into the several layers of the crystals together. When the X-rays are incident onto the crystal surface, it scatters in all possible directions. So whenever it falls on the crystal surface, the electron or the atom which is present on the surface, it absorbs the energy and frequency of the X-rays, and it starts vibrating with the same frequency as that of the incident X-rays. Here we know that in atomic physics, so whenever the radiation falls on the electron should comes out from the atom, but that is not happening in this case, because this energy of the X-ray is not sufficient to remove the electron from the atom. What happens is it gives the energy only for vibration, so it will not come out from the atom. So just it absorbs, vibrates and re-emits the radiation or scatters the radiation in all possible directions. When the X-rays are incident on the crystal surface, it makes an angle theta and reflects back and reflects from the surface by making an angle theta only. The angle of incidence and the angle of reflection, so both are same. So we can observe from that diagram, the reflected rays from the successive plane interfere constructively. What happens here is the reflected rays, so which are moving right side, so these are the reflected rays. These reflected rays are nothing but it is moving in the form of waves. We know the properties of the waves. So in the reflection, after the reflection, this in the successive planes, the interference takes place. The superposition of the two waves takes place. So because of that, the constructive interference and destructive interference takes place. So whenever the two waves are in phase, we will get a constructive interference. Whenever the two waves are out of phase, so we get a destructive interference. Here, the constructive and destructive interference forms a diffraction pattern. So that is recorded in a photographic plate. It shows the maxima or minima peaks value or a graph in a graph, and this can be analyzed to get the crystal structure. Here, so we are written the same diagram here. Only thing is we have represented some notations. AB and DE are incident rays, BC and EF are reflected rays. It makes an angle theta on both sides. So it may be angle of incidence or angle of reflection. So both are called as a glancing angle generally. And the interplanar spacing is represented as a d small d. To find the path difference between the rays, so we have drawn a perpendicular lines, that is BP and BQ. The path difference can be written as, that is PE plus EQ. In this diagram, so we can observe that is PE plus EQ. So here PE is equal to EQ, both the sides are equal only. The constructive interference of radiation from the successive planes takes place. So the condition for the constructive interference is n lambda, that is a path difference. So we have to take it as for constructive interference, the path difference is n lambda, that is PE plus EQ is equal to n lambda. We have to take it as equation number 1. From the triangle BPE, So we can write it as the sin theta is equal to, so PE by BE. So where BE is the interplanar spacing D, and just rearranging the terms, we will get a PE is equal to D sin theta. Take it as equation number 2. And the right side triangle BQE. In that BQE triangle, that is sin theta is equal to QE by BE. Here also same thing, BE is taken as a D. Therefore, the QE is equal to D sin theta. That is equation number 3. Next, substituting in the above equation the PE value and QE value, that is D sin theta plus D sin theta is equal to n lambda. Adding those two, we will get 2D sin theta is equal to n lambda. The X-ray diffraction occurs, so based on this condition, that is 2D sin theta is equal to n lambda. So where D is the interplanar spacing and theta is the glancing angle, n is the number of order number, and lambda is the wavelength of the X-rays. By using this formula, we can find out the interplanar spacing also, and the wavelength of the X-rays also we can find out by using this, and the theta value also we can find. The Bragg's reflections occurs only for the wavelength lambda should be greater than the 2D. Due to this reason, the visible light cannot be used for the crystal diffraction, but X-rays can be used to find the crystal structure. So that's why, so X-ray diffraction is very important. So in that, the Bragg's law condition is also very important for the X-ray diffraction. In this session, so we discussed about the X-ray diffraction and the Bragg's law and the derivation of the Bragg's law. Thank you all.